Hello everyone. I'll try and follow on from Professor Ho's presentation in wearable technology, but it's probably not as cool as what he's been presenting. So, in regards to hearing aids, I'm going to explain to you a lot of things of the technology and what's happening with hearing aids, just to break some of the barriers around that and the conceptions. So, my apologies as well, I'm a little bit sick, so if no one can understand me, please raise your hand and I'll try and answer any questions. Okay. So just to give you a background of William Demant, or Demant as we know, we're a multinational company with over 114 years experience across many facets of business, primarily around hearing healthcare. So hearing aids, cochlear implants, diagnostic and communication. So for us, it's an important part of our history. So we're very much the experts when it comes to hearing aid. So for us, we try and make sure that we have life-changing differences for those that have hearing loss. Just to give you a background on how our organisation has evolved, it was started by this gentleman here, Mr. Hans Demant. His wife Camilla had hearing loss. He actually went to London 114 years ago and realised that there was technology for a hearing aid or some sort of hearing device to help with those that have hearing loss. What had happened as he started his business, his son William there took over the family business, and then from there, that's how the business evolved to this day, and now we're just known as Demant. So how we're structured, just to, again, we're owned by a foundation, so we're not owned by shareholders. So the majority of the business is owned by a foundation, which is a great thing. It means that the majority of the revenue that we make as an organisation goes back into research and development to make sure that everyone gets that opportunity to have the best product in the market. So as we said, we do hearing devices, implants, diagnostic and communication. And today I'll be talking to you around about the hearing devices and specifically around Oticon. That's our premium flagship when it comes to hearing aids. Okay, so this is where it all started. The modern hearing aid, a very wearable product. Can you imagine walking around Singapore today holding this, huh? Pretty cool and sexy. Okay, very sexy. Then it evolved mid-1900s to this type of device. And eventually over time, it's now down to this size. So over the last 114 years, technology has increased at such a pace that we can go from the man to the left to having this little device in your ear. Okay, so it's pretty cool. So what is hearing loss? So for those that don't understand hearing loss, it is an important part in understanding it. So how it works is basically sound, the blue lines, will conduct through the ear canal. And once the ear canal, it goes through there, compresses to the eardrum, the eardrum will then beat, boom, 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 boom. And as it's beating, there's three little bones inside your ear, and those bones will actually knock against each other. And as they're knocking against each other, they're producing frequency and sound. So as that frequency and sound, it then goes to the cochlea, which is this blue little snail-looking thing. Now, depending on the frequency, this is the cool bit. Okay, so depending on a low frequency, it would be up here. And then depending on a high frequency, it would be inside the ear. So once those frequencies are determined, it then travels into the brain. And that's how you actually hear. So it's actually not your ears that are hearing, it's actually your brain that is determining the sound of what you hear today. Now, there's also many parts of hearing loss, okay? So there's some of you in here today that say, no, I don't have hearing loss, okay? But you probably have some sort of slight to mild hearing loss. Just like Dr. Ang was saying when it comes to vision. If you're 40 plus, you're going to get cataracts. So it's pretty similar. Once you're over the age of 55, there is a high risk that you will get some sort of hearing loss. And then it changes from there. So you've got your slight to mild, your moderate, your severe, and then your profound. When it comes to profound, that's a serious time when potential surgery may have to happen. But I won't go through that today. Okay. There's in the marketplace, a lot of people talk about amplifiers and hearing aids. So I just want to show you the difference of what an amplifier is and then what a hearing aid is. So I'll go through a hearing aid. So on the over there. So on the right there are some pictures of some hearing aids. So technically we can do quite a lot of things when it comes to hearing aids. So you've got the traditional, what we call the behind the ear type of hearing aid, and then the brown ones on the bottom are the custom made. So they're custom made to fit inside your ear, okay? So they both, all of them, so the ones on the top and the bottom have the same technology. So there's no difference. It just depends on your personal preference on how you want a hearing aid. Now, what they do is they differentiate between sound, so speech and noise, okay? So there's a difference. So what you want to do is understand what speech is and what noise is. You don't want them combined, because if you've got this and me talking at the same time, it doesn't make a difference. Whereas a hearing aid will take away the tapping and increase the speech volume, so you can understand what speech is, okay? And then it also helps you in quiet and noisy environments. So they're the main attributes of what a hearing aid actually does. What an amplifier does, they look pretty much the same as a hearing aid, but the one thing is people look at them as a way of a cost cut, because again, they're not defined as a hearing aid, they're more of an amplifier. So as I was mentioned earlier, a hearing aid, an amplifier, sorry, both conducts both same noise and speech at the same level. So if you can imagine a truck coming next to you and me talking, it's going to be exactly the same sound, which doesn't actually give you the best opportunity to actually hear and understand what's going on. So just keep in mind when it comes to amplification and what a hearing aid does. Okay, so to move things forward, so the modern hearing aid. So as I'm showing you here, these are the ear pods. So today everyone's wearing trendy ear pods. So there's many types of ear pods in the market. There's this one, there's these four things. They look cool, they look hip, all of this. But guess what? Hearing aids can also be sexy too, okay? We're trying to make hearing aids sexy and wearable. So from that point of view, you can see if you go here, they're not really smiling. But from here, look how happy this man is wearing his invisible hearing aid there. You can see that one, that's his custom one. There's a gentleman there wearing behind the ear, and this is the new age technology. So there's hearing aid companies in the world that are making them look really cool and sexy to promote hearing health. This is how technical it gets. So again, like I said, showed you earlier, there was a picture of a very minute hearing aid, and for those of you that went to the hearing partners stand earlier, you would have seen there would have been like a little miniature hearing aid. So this is what goes into the hearing aid. So you can see that this is what's called the face plate, but a lot of it is to do with the technology around it, okay? So it's battery powered, there's a shock absorber, there's the computer chip there, there's microphones. All of this goes into the processing speed. So it's very important in today's modern hearing aid, when you're looking at the digital side of things, the processing speed. Okay, so I'll go through that now. So when it comes to processing speeds, it's all about computer chip. And like I was saying, technology is increasing at such a pace that a computer chip, a tiny computer chip inside a hearing aid can do all these functions. Now, I won't go through all these functions because this will bore you, but if you're looking at what you want to do in regards to what a hearing aid does, this is just some of the things that it does, okay? So if I look at tinnitus as an example, so the bottom right-hand corner, for those of you who may experience tinnitus now, for those that don't know what tinnitus is, it's a squealing or a noise that you will hear constantly. And you get headaches from it and all of that. That actually this computer chip system can actually manage that and support that relief from there. So this is just some of the things when it comes to technology and hearing aids. The other importance is 360 surround scape. And what I mean by that is for those that have normal hearing, you can actually hear what's coming behind you, okay? In a lot of hearing aids, you don't get that opportunity. If you've got hearing loss, and you don't accept that, you don't hear what's coming behind you. So you've got some little guy on a scooter zooming around, you don't know he's coming, bam, he's going to hit you and knock you off. So for us, it's important that with technology, you actually hear what's coming to your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you. Okay, that's important. It also helps on a number of other things. So it helps with identifying speech and noise. And again, little scooter, little moped, or someone walking behind you. It also balances, what I mean by balance, it also balances the sound and the frequency around it from there, and what's close and what's far, without actually distracting you. So if you can imagine this, so if I go back to this pit, this computer chip processes sound at 56,000 times per second. Okay? That's the speed of what this processing chip does. If you're looking at it from this point of view, it scans the environment 500 times per second. Okay, so now try and count to 500 in 1 second, so you can understand the speed of what these hearing aids are doing in the marketplace. And it's all beneficial to everyone. What else has it done? So this is now into the Bluetooth side of things. So as Professor Ho mentioned earlier, 2.4 gigahertz, right? So for us, we also have 2.4 gigahertz. It's a low energy transmission Bluetooth, but it enables you to actually then connect to smartphones, to TVs, to anything digital. So from a technology point of view, you can actually start controlling what you want to hear, how you want to hear, okay? So for those of you who've been married for a long time, we haven't developed the turn the wife or the husband off yet, okay? So we haven't developed that yet. It could be coming. But from that point of view, you can do a lot of this from a technology point of view. So Bluetooth has really enabled a lot of technology advancements in hearing aids. Okay, rechargeability. Also, this has only been in the market for the last 12 to 18 months, so it's not a long time. So with rechargeability now, you've got the technology now of lithium-ion batteries. Okay, so when it comes to lithium-ion batteries that control hearing aids, so in past, you've got the little normal alkaline batteries, they would last less than a day, depending on your use of your hearing aid. Today, lithium-ion batteries actually work a lot longer, have a little bit more power. You can actually recharge them quickly. For half an hour, you can get 25% extra charge. For 3 hours, you get a fully charged operating hearing aid for up to 16 to 18 hours, depending on your use. Okay? And again, with lithium-ion batteries, they can be shaped in the future. Am I correct with that one? Yes. So with that side of things, again, with trying to make hearing aids sexy, you can shape hearing aids, shape the battery formation. So again, technology will be advancing as time goes along. The other cool thing, and I can't show you this via the microphone here, but again, as part of this technology, if you put a microphone next to a speaker, you get that squealing noise. Has everyone experienced that feedback squealing? It happens with hearing aids as well, okay? So you get the hearing aid gets a squeal, and then what happens once it squeals, the volume turns, besides you going like this, the volume comes down, and then it's not a comfortable environment until the system kicks in, and once it kicks in, then your hearing becomes back to normal. So what happens now, that you have the ultimate benefit, because again, feedback no longer exists. So you don't get that squealing sound in a hearing aid. So that's a cool thing. So if you're not connected to a phone, you can then stick your phone next to your earpiece. You can talk on your mobile with your friends, or you can have whatever you want. Even if you're going to hug your relative. So even if you hug your relative right now, your hearing aid will squeal. It'll give you that feedback. Whereas now the technology is at a level that I can hug someone and there won't be any feedback in my ear. It is quite discomforting for many hearing aid users. So we can actually proudly say that yes, this doesn't exist anymore. So here we go, wearable technology and where the future's going. Okay, so Professor Ho is getting all excited here. Okay, so hearing fitness. So a lot of this technology now is allowing to how your hearing fitness works and how you use your hearing aid through the day, okay, to manage this. It's only still in its infancy from a data collection point of view, but you can actually manage how you use your hearing aid and what environment you use your hearing aid as well. So you can then relate to okay, I'm going out tonight for dinner with my friends. I'm going to make sure that the hearing aid is set to a certain level, and then you can actually assess how your hearing aid is performing to that environment, and then you can make those adjustments yourself. Okay, so you have more control in regards to how you use your hearing aid. The On app, again, this is pretty cool. And again, if you're connected to your phone, you have 4 programs set on your mobile phone where you can actually then set, depending the environment that you're in, you can set your hearing aid through your Bluetooth device. Okay, so again, out with dinner with friends, I'm sitting at a concert, I'm quietly at home reading a book, those type of things. So you can actually adjust your hearing aid as you're going on through your day. So it's quite a cool little thing. And then you can also adjust the volume. So you can't see it there, but there's a little zero. You can actually adjust the volume setting on your hearing aid as well. So if you're in a noisy environment and you just need a little bit more volume out of your hearing aid, you just tap that button and you swipe it up to maybe a 2 or a 3 or a 5. You can then adjust your hearing aid volume. This is new. This is cool. This is really cool. Okay, so in today's day and age, people are very time poor. And for most people, it's about convenience. So from what we'll be launching is basically remote care. So how this works globally is that, like this, FaceTime, it's almost like a FaceTime thing. An audiologist would be connected to the computer through our fitting software. They will have a very secure link to you. You will then have their FaceTime. They will then adjust your hearing aid via their laptop, via the phone, via the hearing aid. So it's all through that Bluetooth technology. This is really cool. So for those that are too busy to go to the other side of Singapore or have lunch with friends and don't want to have to go see your audiologist, you book an appointment, you can then have this remote care. Okay, so it's comfortable, it's easy, it's at your convenience, you can do it on the couch at home. It's a 5 to 10 minute process. So that's also pretty cool. So that's coming into technology as well. The other things that are coming is artificial intelligence. I don't know too much about it, but I know globally that they're working on AI at the moment and how that will adapt and work with your hearing aids as well. And that may be how you wear it, what environment. So instead of having all these apps, the hearing aid may just know what environment you're in. So as part of all of this, we also had the talk earlier this morning about dementia and Alzheimer's and healthcare. So what we're finding is this. So if you've got hearing loss and you're over 55, I would suggest to go for a hearing test. Okay? It is important. You have an eye test, you go have a health checkup, you might as well go have a hearing test. It's half an hour, to be honest. There's a lot of things you can see here that contribute to hearing loss. And one of them was Alzheimer's and dementia. There's a lot of focus at the moment in the industry around this. Okay, so there's a lot of studies and medical studies actually going on at the moment in regards to this. So, as I mentioned earlier, your brain hears, not your ears. So it's very important that your brain actually understands the speech, okay? Not the noise. You want to understand what the person is saying, because I'm talking you every second. Your brain is trying to pick up what the actual sentence is. So if your brain is pulsating at a nice simple pace, now all of a sudden it's working a lot harder. Okay, so it needs to understand what you're saying. Okay, so that means you're going to get tired a little bit more because your brain's working, you're working. So you want to also reduce your listening effort and you want to improve what people are saying. Okay, so it's important that you actually have your memory recall, because part of this is also leading into that dementia, Alzheimer's side of things, is that memory recall. What did that person say? What did that person mean? Understanding what they're saying. That's also part of it. But also when you're with your friends and you're in a social environment, you want to understand what's being said, because again, you may miss out what your friend is saying over here and over there, and then you feel withdrawn. So it's also a social thing, okay? So it also leads to social withdrawal. There we go. So for us, it's cognitive decline, okay? So that's probably the one thing you take out of it. Out of today is just more the cognitive decline, is to make sure that at least a person with hearing loss does not use hearing aids, has a higher risk of accelerated mental decline. Okay? That's a proven fact. It's just more the social withdrawal side of things. Okay? So you're not as active anymore. You're hidden away because you're not part of those conversations. So for us, it's important that we educate everyone on that side of things. A person with hearing loss using hearing aids is socially active and likely to have a similar risk of mental decline to that of a person with normal hearing. Okay? So they're the big things that we try and promote when it comes to hearing loss. And as I mentioned, going back to the original where I sit on my hearing loss spectrum, here we go. So if you have normal hearing, that is the potential risk, you don't get it, but this is the potential risk of dementia. If you have severe hearing loss, you're 5 times greater than a normal person. Okay, that's scary. So what we're saying is that with a hearing aid, that will enable you to reduce that risk back to here. Okay, we're not saying it will cure it. We're not saying anything like that. What we're saying is the potential risk. Okay. Okay, so we've been doing some work with hearing partners. You would have seen the crew all out there giving away all the tea dippers, the best-selling, hottest-selling item here today. So from that point of view, with hearing partners, we partner with hearing partners in Singapore. We work closely with them. So what we're saying is at least give yourself that opportunity for a free hearing test. Okay, it will take about half an hour to have a proper test. There's 10 locations around Singapore. We've got the hearing partners have got the highest and most qualified team of audiologists and audiometricians in Singapore, and they also have the state-of-the-art hearing equipment. So from my point of view, going for a hearing test, it can't hurt. It's a lovely experience, and from that point of view, I think for me that's it. Quick, simple, easy.
Thank you.